webinar, so thank you for your participation. This webinar is on the new T550 TruckIII. It is a presentation of the new product, a general overview, so no very technical details, but an overview of the new hardware, new feature, and in the next weeks and months, other webinars specifically based on technical aspect will be scheduled. So the duration is 60 minutes, and for any problem for the audio or for the technical aspect, you can use the chat or an email to the Sampi desk, and we will help you to join and to fix all technical problems. Just a few notes before starting the webinar. For the question, we will have some specific time during the presentation, some question time. To avoid interruption during the presentation, I kindly ask you to use the chat and your comments or questions. Okay, I think that we are already connected over the phone line, so we can wait just 1 minute, but I think that we can start. This is the timeline for the truck systems, the T550 truck. The first truck was released in 2008. I think that some of you are familiar with this product. The second revision was released in 2010, and as you can see from the picture, the box was smaller and a new box was designed. This year we released the third version of the truck application. It looks very similar to the previous version, but there are some big improvements. Also from the look and feel, a different operator panel with the redesigned keypad. Also the main box is even smaller than the previous. So why we decided to redesign the truck system? For the robustness, to increase the robustness of the product, to increase the ease of use and maintenance, to add new features, and to add new services. From the robustness point of view, we worked on the electrical part, on the software, and also on the mechanical parts. We removed the 50% of the internal cables between the boards because, as you probably know, cables are one of the weakest points from the disturbances, electrical spikes. So we removed the 50% of the internal connection between the boards. We doubled the EMC filter for the power supply because trucks have many devices on board, so the filter on the power supply is very important. And we increased the efficiency of the display communication line by 11 times. I think that some of you are probably familiar with the offline message. It was one of the warnings on the TruckIII systems, and this warning is strictly related to the efficiency of the connection between the CPU, the main box, and the display. We increased by 11 times the efficiency of this line, so also this warning has been removed, has been fixed. From the software point of view, we had a very hard work on that because we spent 1,200 hours for the debugging. The debugging involved 3 test engineers, and 74 beta versions was released before getting the first official version. And also 150 days of field tests on 3 trucks, so without any problems. For the mechanical part, we removed the electromechanical relays because they are moving parts not really needed on vehicles because the power is 24 volts. And we replaced the relays with some solid-state outputs without any moving part. We used stronger connectors to reduce the impact of the vibration, the wiring, and we increased also the sealing of the keypad to avoid the humidity inside the display. The ease of use and maintenance, we redesigned the user interface. We will see later that the new layout includes also icons and graphical elements. Numbers are bigger and are always visible. And for the keypad, now each button performs a single action, so there are no generic keys to increase the user-friendly of the panel. Also for the service, for configuration and setup, now we have a setup wizard to guide the operator for the first setup. We have labels on the terminal to identify each connection, and also the factory reset, just in case, is without any data loss. So the configuration, the parameters, the totalizer are maintained even in case of factory reset. We included a lot of new features we will see later. You can see now some spot wording, connectivity, GPS, inventory, remote live view, some very important new features and services. We can start discussing about the new hardware. The system layout is similar to the previous version of the truck, the T550 TruckII. We have still two units, the main box and the operator panel. The main box is used as a support for the printer, as a junction box, and it is also a rack for the electronic boards. The operator panel can be placed close to the meter and includes the display, the keypad, and the weight and measure switch for the calibration. Different from the TruckII, the main box is smaller. You can see that we reduced the overall size by 20%. Maximum 2 meters, because we saw that in the past, in our experience on trucks, most of application is for 1 or 2 meters. So we decided to focus the hardware architecture to better serve 2 meters instead, for example, 4 meters that is very uncommon. We removed the DB9 connectors. This kind of connectors are very typical on consumer electronic, but not for industrial and not on field. So all connectors now are based on screw. There are some LED for the diagnostic. And the connection, as you can see on this picture, each connection is identified by a unique label. So you would receive, if you want, the cables from Sampi, and each wire will have a label, and this label is a unique label. So you will have the connector and the wire with the same identification text. So also the wiring and installation will be very easy. For the LKI panel, it includes the display and the keypad. What's different? We used bigger font. The numbers now are more visible, and the font height is 2 centimeters, so can be the visibility is very high, far from the display. Keypad, the new keypad has 29 buttons, 16 standard buttons, plus 13 second function keys. You can see on the picture on the bottom the second functionalities in yellow. Also, the start and stop buttons are identified by green and red button. This improves the ease of use. The sensitivity of the keypad is increased by 70%, so the response time on the pressure of the key has been improved, it is quicker. There are graphical elements like icons to the look and feel. And we have now 2 meters on the same display. if you are familiar with the TruckII, you remember that on the TruckII, if you have 2 meters, you need 2 displays. The new TruckIII, you can have 2 meters simultaneously on the same display. This is the CPU board, the new CPU. It is red colored, also for an easy identification of the board. It includes power supply and main board functionality. It includes the double EMC filter to reduce the noise in the power supply. It can work with an internal battery for an anti-theft feature that we will see later. 50 days of activity with an internal battery, even if the main power supply is switched off. This is the third communication port for the GPS, and there are no electromechanical release, only solid-state outputs to increase the robustness of the unit. This is the new C-mode board in green color. It will be available in 2 versions, with or without analog inputs. We removed also on this board the electromechanical release, and the reactivity on the preset valve control has been increased by 60% for a better targeting of the preset volume. Also, the mass meter support has been increased, so we can transform mass and volume independently from the kind of pulses. So we can have pulses proportional to volume from a PD meter, and we can transform with some probes into a mass, or and vice versa. So we can read the pulses from a mass meter and transform it into a volume. This is something new on the software, on the hardware. Whiteboard is the function I/O board, and it can be used to add extra input and output to the system. It is mainly used to control the compartment output. On this board we have 8 extra programmable inputs and 24 programmable solid-state outputs. The output is 0-24 volts, so the output can control directly the solenoid for the valve, and there is an external input for powering the output. This board has a double microprocessor to avoid time lag on the output controls, to have a very good reactivity controlling the compartment valves. So before going into details about the functionality and the firmware, if you have some questions about the hardware, we can have a short discussion. So just let me know, then we can. We can have an overview about the software. This is the new screen layout. As you can see, it's completely different from the TruckII. We have a bigger font for the volume, and these numbers cannot be overwritten by any pop-up menu or by any kind of information, but they are always visible. So the last delivered quantity, the totalizer, and all the other numbers cannot be masked by any menus. The menu is on the small box on the left. On the top you can see the name of the product, of the selected product, and the number of the selected meters. There are some icons on the left, on the bottom left, to have an indication of the status of the meter. So now it's in idle status, but the icon will change accordingly to the status. For example, there is a new delivery running, the icon changes. So you can easily understand what's happening on the meter. On the bottom there is the help message line to guide the operator, and On the right, there are all methodological information. So the delivery quantity, 5 digits for the whole part, and 2 decimal digits. The decimal digits can be disabled if you like. Then we have the product totalizer with 8 digits and additional information such as the flow rate, the temperature, the density, the preset. All those kind of information can be displayed. During the delivery, you can scroll all the information. So the gross volume, then using the arrow keys, you can see also the net volume at 15 Celsius degree, for example. You can see the partial and the total for the mass. The price, if you have the price enabled, the price per unit, price per liter, for example, the real-time temperature, the density, the flow rate, the complete name of the meter, of the product, and the status. So on the TruckIII, if you remember, you have to select which information you want to display. With the TruckIII, you can scroll all of them. So you can see gross volume, net volume, mass, price, all those information. You don't have to select. You can enable or disable some pages, but you can scroll all the pages that you like. During the delivery in real time, so not at the end of the delivery, but during the delivery. This is the new ticket layout because we redesigned also the delivery ticket using the graphical element. This is very important because on the TruckIII we used the printer in text mode, but unfortunately the Epson printer doesn't support some alphabets such as the Greek alphabet or the Cyrillic alphabet. Using the graphical mode now, Greek and Cyrillic alphabet are supported, so we can print using different languages from English. We support now 3 types of ticket printers. The Epson, first one is the standard Epson printer, 35 columns, and we have the second model from Epson, 80 columns, and the thermal roll printer. This is new, but for some markets it's used from a long time, from Cognitive. On the right you can see an example of the ticket. These are other examples in graphical mode. The first one on the top left, for example, is a screenshot, because this is another possibility for troubleshooting. If you see something strange on the screen, you can print the screenshot and show to the test engineer, to the technical support. This is very useful, I think. And there are some other tickets such as inventory. We will see later this kind of functionality, but for monitor the product on each compartment. On the ticket, you can see that there is also the logo of the company. This is something new. There are different font sizes to highlight the most important information, such as the product name, delivery number, also the delivery quantity. And in case of error, there are also some icons to focus the attention on some unexpected event. Configuration menu has been redesigned. There are 2 kinds of configuration screens: the preset wizard and the smart parameter list. The preset wizard is the very first setup of the unit. It is a step-by-step procedure, and in a maximum number of 6 steps, you can automatically set 70% of the parameters, because we know that usually the most of parameters can be automatically set on default values accordingly to the configuration of the truck. For example, the number of the meter, the number of the product. So this preset wizard is really important and will take very few minutes, and automatically configure the most of the parameters. If you want to set some specific parameters, such as the calibration of the meter and the name of the product, there is the possibility to see only a very short list of parameters. So TruckII has about 70 hundred of parameters, and also on the TruckIII the complete set of parameters is more or less the same quantities, but you can see the most important parameters on a short list with only 35 parameters. Then if you want to see the complete list, you can do this, but there is a new menu to see only the calibration parameters, for example. This is very quick to set up. Inventory system is a new functionality that was not included in the TruckII, so this is very new. On the TruckIII, it is possible to set up to 6 compartments, and for each compartment you can set the name of the compartment. For example, you can replicate the name of the product, a compartment for the diesel or for gasoline. You can set the maximum quantity, how many liters can be stocked into this compartment. Also, the density of the loaded product can be input on the compartment data, and also you can set a threshold for the overfill alarm on each compartment. The inventory system can be used also to manage the bottom valve of each compartment. For this specific application, you will probably need the expansion I/O boards that we saw some minutes ago, the white board, for example. There is the automatic residual quantity calculation. So at the beginning of the day, you can put the quantity on each compartment. Then after each delivery, the system automatically calculates the remaining quantity on each compartment, and also can signal an empty compartment and the remaining quantity for each product. There are some warnings to prevent wrong compartment selection in case of product mismatch. So if you select to deliver gasoline, you cannot open the diesel compartment. So this is very useful. And there is also the possibility to move product from one compartment to another using the product return functionality. So in some cases, the additivation of some product is based on empty compartment, so the driver needs to move the product from compartment 1, for example, to the compartment number 5, because on compartment number 5 there is also the additive. So for this kind of specific application, there is the possibility to move the product from one compartment to the other, and to trace this kind of internal delivery in a specific mode with a different ticket. For the anti-theft feature, there is the power of counting system. This is something not really new, because it was also available on the TruckII, but has been really improved, because now with the internal battery pack, you can monitor the meter without the main power for 50 days. So to give you an idea of the power consumption of the new anti-theft system, it takes only the 5% of the power of a standard LED. For example, the LED of your optical mouse, or every kind of small lights that you are using. With the new system, only the 5% of this power consumption is required, and this is the reason why we can have a complete monitor of the meter of 50 days. In case of some leakage or some fraudulent action when the main power is off, there is a new event on the log, on the internal memory of the system, and there is a warning on the screen as soon as the main power is back, And you can have also a specific ticket for this kind of fraudulent warning, and this kind of anti-theft warning. With the new truck there are also some extra tools designed for distributor and service center. The first one is the advanced customization, because with the new TruckIII it is possible to customize the screen with the customer logo, the access code, the default access code. So with the TruckII the default codes are always the same, but with the TruckIII you can customize the default access code to set up the unit, to print a duplicate, for all this kind of protected functionality. This kind of code can be changed. So for your customer can have by default some specific password. Also the ticket logo can be changed, as you can see on this picture. We designed a ticket for Alpico. That is maybe you know them, but this is a distributor in UK, and this is the ticket they have with this kind of customization. Also the language can be customized, and it is permanent. So with the TruckII, for example, you can load the Greek language, but unfortunately you need to perform a factory reset, and unfortunately you lose the language. With the TruckIII this is not possible, because if you customize the language remain on the memory and cannot be changed. So even if you perform a factory reset, totalizer, configuration and language remain on the memory. Another tool very useful for the service are the programmable alerts. It is possible to program up to 3 alerts, for example, to schedule periodical maintenance services. The logic is the same logic that you have on the computer of your car, for example. So after 15,000 kilometers, you have an alert on the screen of your car to inform you that you need to perform a checkup on the engine and on the vehicle. So the logic is the same. You can program up to 3 warnings, and each warning can be linked to the system lifetime. For example, 200 hours of system lifetime, or to the meter activity. After a certain volume of liters, for example, thousands of liters, let me say 100,000 liters or more, you can program a warning on the screen. So the operator will see this kind of warning. This is not locking, so the driver can bypass this alert pressing a button on the keypad, and will be allowed to perform a new delivery. But every time he power on the unit, this kind of alert, this warning will be printed on the screen. So the only way to clear permanently the error is to go to the service center and perform a checkup and reset this timer. And this is something specifically designed for the service center and for the distributor, because this tool for programming the unit and the alarm is strictly confidential, so will be released only to you. Another new tool is the black box encrypted database, a sort of flight recorder, let me say. It is a different database to store all the activity of the system, including the spare part replacement, the firmware upgrade, fraudulent action, errors. All the activity are traced on this secret database and can be used for the troubleshooting or to understand if someone changed the board, the hardware, without authorization or performed some strange activity. is another important tool. Finally, the remote live view service allows you to, in real time, to connect to the T550 and to see a sort of remote desktop of the TruckIII. So you can see on your PC the current view of the display of the T550 and also have the possibility to press remotely a key on the T550. So you can have the remote keypad and remote screen on your computer or tablet or smartphone. This is something that can be done using this new tool. This is very important, I think, for the service, because you can perform an initial troubleshooting from remote, from your office, without moving close to the truck on site. You can perform some activity from your office. So this is the idea, and of course it can be used also to monitor the activity of the driver. So to be able to see in real time the information of the screen, you will need an external modem, for example, with the SIM card, to have the connection over internet. But this is something external, of course, but this functionality is already included in the software. So this is something already in as a specific new feature. Okay, this is just for your information, the list of the main feature. I think that we discussed about all of them. The firmware will be available on different versions accordingly to the needed functionality. The basic version is the gold version. It includes the support for a single meter, so just 1 meter, multi-product, so multiple product. It supports the printer, but without temperature compensation. If you need the temperature compensation or the mass meter support, you need the Gold Plus. So with the Gold Plus you have multi-product, 2 meters, the temperature, the density, the mass calculation, all those kind of features. The Platinum is the top level version because it includes also the compartment logic and the inventory system. So if you need to control also the compartment, you need this version, the Platinum. And for the LPG truck, there is a specific version because it includes the API tables for the LPG and all the other calculating algorithm for the LPG product. This is the reason why it's a specific. There is a specific version. On the package of the T550, you will receive the main box, the LTI, the power supply cable, and the LTI cable. Also a short guide, very short. There are, I think, 15 pages with the main procedure for performing new delivery or set up the calibration of the meter. Very basic information, very quick to read, but I think that very useful because it includes the most important functionality. And the complete user manual is a multimedia manual, also available on the USB stick included in the package or online, because if you want to be informed about new feature, maybe it is suggested to check for the online version. You can read the link on the bottom of this slide. And the new user manual includes also some video guide, because we think that it's better and also easy to check some operation using the video that read versus reading maybe 10 pages with a noisy procedure. You can just see a 2-minute video to better understand how to set up the unit or how to perform some maintenance on the hardware. Thank you for your participation, and of course this webinar will be released also on the Sampi desk, so you can send the link to other people that are involved and maybe want to have some extra information about the TruckIII. And if you have any further question or you need any kind of information, you can send an email to info@sampidesk.com. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.